Hi, hello, welcome to Devon Monk's Works and Worlds. This is Monday Monk 14. We're just cruising right along, getting these out every week, which is pretty cool. If you enjoy coming by and checking in on what's going on in my writing world, my knitting world, my what other random stuff I talk about world, please hit the little thumbs up button or that's the like button down below. It makes a difference for the channel. It helps it so that other people can find the video easier. I actually don't know how it works, but that's what I'm told. Also, you can subscribe. So, okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. I usually start off with writing, so I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. How is writing going? It's going so good. I put in a lot of hours this week, and I took the manuscript of Brood of All Evil, which is Ordinary Magic 9, that I had finished first drafting. That's rough drafting, getting just the basic story on the page. I had finished it on last Sunday. Yeah, last Sunday. And then I spent Monday through Saturday of the next week going through and cleaning it up and making sure that the beginning, what I had written in the beginning, matched with what happened at the end, and that the dialogue was snappy and the descriptions weren't too long and the story flows, and that I didn't have plot holes. There's one plot hole I have to fix. I was awake last night at 3 a.m. going, that's a plot hole, but I think I know how to fix it. So there's a little bit of tinkering to be done. But with that being said, I have sent all of the chapters off to my amazing copy editor. And that means that she's going to go through those chapters through the whole book over the next couple weeks, I think, and then get the corrections back to me. And those corrections are things like, did I use the word that when I should have said which? That kind of stuff. Or, hey, you put too many hyphens in here, or M dashes. I love me an M dash, and I use the heck out of them. My copy editor's very tolerant, which is sweet. So anyway, she's going to check for just grammar things. She'll probably point out the plot hole that I know I have in there, but then she'll get her notes back to me. I will go through and fix all those things. And then the next stage is I go through and I have my computer read to me in its tinny little computer voice my manuscript back to me while I read along with it. And that is so that I can try to catch as many typos as possible. Still haven't nailed down the publishing date. Hopefully by the next Monday Monk, I will have that figured out for you. So stay tuned. So anyways, writing is going so good. I literally feel like I just broke a fever because I was putting in over 12-hour days the entire week to try to get this done. And I'm sitting at that desk doing nothing but churning through these words to try to create the story that I hope is there. And it's a haul. It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of focus, and you get really muzzy, and you're hoping that you're presenting your best when you're really, charging through it. So that was a big lift, and I feel really relieved that that part's done. And next we'll do the next parts and hopefully get the book out soon. I'll do a cover reveal coming up here pretty soon too, so you can see what cover you should be looking for when it comes out. Okay, so that's writing. Writing's going well. What am I going to do while this manuscript is at my copy editors? There's a lot of things I could do. I need to write the next Wayward book, which is Wayward Sky, Wayward Sky, I think. And then I have a hockey book that I need to write, which is Hockey Urban Fantasy. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. That's Thorn. I need to write that one. And I have a new series I want to write. I have this new book idea that I really want to write. So I might spend a couple days jotting down notes for that book and then get back to doing what I should be doing. We'll see. Okay, so that's me in a nutshell with writing. Knitting. I have not knitted anything this week. I was putting those hours in on the writing, or on the cleaning up. So I do want to remind you, though, that if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, you could. And if you did, just being a subscriber automatically puts you in the running to win one of my knit toys that I give away in each newsletter. I try to get the newsletter out monthly. I did that better last year. This year, This year I'm not doing as well at that, but they're coming out about every other month, I guess. I'll try to get back on a monthly schedule, but I'm going to show you what was not claimed. This guy, not claimed. This little frog has been drawn. Well, two winners have been drawn. Two people have won this and have not claimed him for their prize. And I don't know if they just didn't want the frog or weren't opening the newsletter, but this little guy is up for grabs. He will be given away in the May newsletter. And the manatee. So the manatee also was not claimed. Oh, come on, how sweet is that little face? Look at that little face. That is some cuteness. Anyway, so this little manatee was given to, I think I've tried to give it away once, was not claimed. So in May's newsletter, we will be giving away the manatee, and we will be giving away, the frog, and I will hopefully have another toy knit that I will also be giving away. So check out your May newsletter if you aren't opening them. They show up in spam mail. They show up in weird promo boxes. So you got to kind of maybe search a little bit for it. But it's always from Devon Monk. And it usually says Devon Monk's newsletter, knit toys or something giveaway. So yeah, please look for it if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribing's free. I don't spam people. In my newsletter, I usually do a little bit of writing news, little news about what's going on around the house, give away a knit toy, and then post some links to my writer friends' books that have recently come out or are on sale. And that's it. Like, that's what I do, people. I don't, I mean, sometimes I'll put a link to my books that are coming out too, but I'm not pushy. I'm not trying to sell. I'm just trying to keep you up to date on what's going on. And what I say in the newsletter isn't always what I say in the videos. So if you're interested, they're there. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about? Oh, speaking of books that have recently come out, I don't know this writer. Ooh, I really should have gotten the title first before I did this video. I will find the title. Okay, I just took a minute to go get the titles and the author of these two books that I recently read, because I forgot to bring them before I sat down to do this, but now I have them. So I've said before that I don't often read urban fantasy because I work in that genre and I don't want to steal ideas accidentally. Like sometimes I read something and I would hate for it to come out when I'm writing, like that I've internalized it and I'm taking that idea. It generally doesn't really happen because any author who takes any idea, anything like vampires, is going to do it differently than any other author. It's really hard to one-on-one steal something from somebody and have it be exactly the same. That being said, I don't want to echo somebody else's work. I want my work to stand out with my own imagination and my own stories. So urban fantasy is where I write, so I don't always read an urban fantasy, although sometimes I do. And I recently did, a friend recommended, and then I chased down and found it on my own. It was weird. She had recommended it months ago, and then I found it recently. 2 books are out right now. The third book comes out, I think, May 17th or something. I don't know this person, so but I really enjoyed the work. So if you read urban fantasy, you might enjoy... the first book is called The Last Sun. The series is called The Tarot Sequence. And the author is K.D. Edwards. The second book is The Hanged Man. Again, The Tarot Sequence is the series name by K.D. Edwards. And the third book comes out, I think it's called something like Time's Hourglass or something with Time and Hourglass. I'll put the images of the books on the screen, or hopefully I have, so you can see what you're looking for. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were well written. I love the characters, and I really loved using the tarot in this way because I find that a fascinating mythic structure, the major arcana of the tarot. Where you start off at the Fool, which is 0, and you're heading off on a quest, and by the end of the tarot sequence, you're at the world, like the universe, you're everything. And it's such a neat story just in the cards themselves. And I really like what this author did, using it as a structure for the world building, for the magic, and for the politics back and forth between the different Major Arcana Quartz. And so if you're into tarot, you might really enjoy it. If you're into urban fantasy, I think you'd enjoy it. There's definitely some good relationships in it. There are people, trying to get together. It's not a romance, as in it's not built on the romance plot structure, which that's kind of technical, but romance has a certain way that the stories flow. And this is definitely urban fantasy. A lot of slaying, a little less laying. Probably shouldn't say that. But the main character is gay, which is pretty cool. And I just adored it. So I'm definitely looking forward to the third book. And if you are looking for an urban fantasy to read, that's one that I've enjoyed. So there you go. Okay, so let's see. We did writing, we did knitting, we did a little shout out to something recently that I've read that I enjoy. And I do try to keep these pretty short. So I'll grab one more little thing from our heart box, and then we'll call it good. So here's our heart box. Inside are strips of paper that have random subjects on them that probably have something to do with my books. Or maybe not. I did put some other things in there. Let's see what we pull out. I always dread this a little. It's like, what if I get something that I don't know how to talk about? Okay, I do kind of want to see how many minutes I have left. Okay, I've got a couple minutes that I can talk about this. This is a big one. Can you see that? No, come on, camera. There we go. Outlining. So this will be a little technical about writing. If you're interested in writing or how I write, stick around. If you aren't, it still might be interesting. A lot of people ask me, do you outline? And that's such an interesting question in that, what do you consider an outline? Some people write very, very detailed, scene by scene, with all the dialogue in there, every detail that's going to happen in their books. They can fix plot holes before they start writing. And then they just dive in and create by just following that roadmap that they've made. I'm not one of those people. Some people say they do no outlining and they just sit down at their writing device, computer, I assume, and they just go. They just start. I'm going to just start in the middle of, I know I'm in a desert and oh, there's a frog, and off they go. Just whatever hits in their mind, whatever thought comes into their head, they just start putting that down and eventually it will turn into a novel. I happen to think that outlining is connected a lot to how we have internalized story. So we all read story, we have all told stories, right? And we have watched stories. We definitely have video stories in movies and shows and games. We have songs that tell us story. Poetry tells us story. Family history stories, sitting around making jokes with each other, story. Playing board games, story. So we are constantly exposed to story, and we internalize that, and we know when we have read something or experienced story that we loved. So I think we have a really high ability to know what story is without knowing what story is. And that plays into how much I think people tend to outline. Also, there are a lot of different ways to come to outlining. Like I said, the very detailed manner, or the no details at all. You just don't outline at all. You just go for the gusto. I'm in between that. So I definitely need to know my main characters. I need to know what they want, and I need to know, that's character building though, right? That's not really outlining, but it is part of outlining. I need to know my characters. I need to know my world. I need to know what's at stake, and I need to know if we're going to win or lose. And I need to know the consequences of, if I'm doing fantasy, the consequences of my magic, because that will create conflicts. Like if the consequence of doing magic is you turn purple every time you do it, then, maybe we'll do magic in the dark where people can't see us turn purple, or maybe we'll do magic and get caught purple-handed. So I want to know the consequences of magic because I can create story around that. So I don't want to go into how I outline because I think it's more than something to talk about just at the end of a video. if you're interested in me showing or talking about how I outline a book, which has changed from when I first began in short stories, which I still don't outline short stories, but I do outline books, or at least do something that I consider an outline. With my version of the writer's journey or the heroine's journey, they're kind of the same journey. My version of story, I do write down on a piece of paper how I want to structure it, and where my big moments are and smaller moments, and what I want to have on outcome at the end. So I do have a process for outlining, but it's, as you can tell, is nothing I would ever try to teach somebody. I have sat down one-on-one with people and showed them kind of how I process story, and generally I get results where people are like, oh, like there's a little bits of moments of, oh, I see that, aha moments, because we're all doing story. It's just, how do we create the language to talk about how we do story? You'd think writers would be good at that. You'd think we'd have one standard way to say this means this, and it always means that, and it will always work that way, and anybody who tries to do it, it will come out exactly that same way. And no, that is not how it works. Writing, language, emotion, story, it's a fluid thing, and it changes in the hands and in the mind of every writer. So I don't teach outlining because mine is a very personalized outlining structure that just works for me. But one thing that I will say about outlining is, if you're a writer, check out all the different outlining things that people have talked about. There are a million books about it. There are tons of charts. There are YouTube videos. There are webinars. You can find any kind of outline that anybody's ever made is out there for you. And I think, this is my true belief, some outlining styles work better for different authors. So keep your mind open. If you see outlining a certain way and you're like, oh, that's terrible, that would never work for me, good. Now you've learned that that doesn't work for you. That doesn't mean that somebody else's hints or outlining style might not work for you. So yeah, outlining. Yes, I outline. the short version of that answer. I do outline. I don't have a teachable outline to really do on camera. But that being said, if people were interested in seeing what I put down when I outline a book, or where my brain goes to create story, I might be willing to give that a try and to share that. Or, maybe you don't need that. There's plenty of outliners out there and plenty of non-outliners out there. And as long as you're writing, you're doing it right. And then sometimes if you're not writing, but just thinking about writing, you're still doing it right. So sometimes you take a break from writing because you're not ready to be the writing, and you're still doing it right. So just keep at it. Explore, do what works for you, and and it'll work out. So that's certainly the path I took. I listened to a lot of people, tried a lot of things, and right now this is what's working for me. Might not be what works for me in the future, but it's working for me now. So, okay, that is plenty of time I spent babbling about outlines without really giving you any information. So let me know if you want me to actually break it down and present it in some way. Maybe it'll be useful. I mean, like I said, some people had those aha moments, so maybe you'd get something out of it, or maybe not. Maybe I'll stick with knitting and other things. But thank you for coming by today on Monday Monk 14. I appreciate you. I appreciate you spending a little time with me. And I hope, until I see you again, that you have a very good week and happy reading. And if you're outlining, happy outlining. And I will see you soon. Bye.